Hi everybody, Craig here. Welcome to a brand new Age of Wonders 3 playthrough series. This series is going to be a 6-player free-for-all with myself and 5 AI opponents. Let's talk about the game setup. The AI are going to be on Emperor difficulty, which is the highest difficulty. We're going to be playing on a large map size as we have 6 players. We're going to be playing on a map type that is land-based, and we're going to have a normal game flow. Let's look at the advanced settings. Most of the advanced settings are going to be average or default settings. However, we are going to change a few of them. In particular, starting town is going to be an outpost, and our starting distance is going to be far. In terms of the geography here, it's going to be default. Now, it is important here to note that we're going to have both surface and underground, but we are also going to have the Shadow Realm, which you don't see here, but it will be in play during this game. The Shadow Realm is another tile set that is added by the Shadow Realm mod pack that I have installed. If you're interested in any of the mods that I'm using for this playthrough, check out the video description as I list all of them there. Okay, now let's take a peek at the setup for myself and my opponents. We're going to enable teams, and we're going to set each AI opponent on their own team. There we go. And we're going to have classic turns, and we're obviously going to customize our leaders as well. And just like I said here, it's myself, and then each AI opponent is on a separate team. Let's take a peek at the advanced rules. So as I said, the game speed is going to be normal. We are going to have starting resources set to standard, starting skills set to few. Heroes are not going to have resurgence at all. That's going to be set to never. The only really notable change here from some of my previous playthroughs is going to be defender strength. And in this playthrough, I'm going to set it to very strong. And very strong defender strength means that structures will be defended by armies that are at 200% normal strength. So they are going to be very powerful. And this actually comes as a suggestion from Victor Sapko on the last episode of my most recent playthrough series, which was my Shadow Elf Sorcerer series. And Victor pointed out that if I wanted to increase the challenge, I could increase defender strength. And that's a great suggestion from Victor. Ahmed Sultan also pointed this out. He had mentioned that there were a few things I could do to increase the challenge of these playthroughs. One of them being I could impose my own self kind of imposed restrictions, like, you know, I can only use certain types of units, or I can only have one city, or whatever it might be, or I can only move units on the map if they have a hero with them, things like that. For this playthrough, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to do one of the other things Ahmed suggested, which, just like Victor, he suggested increasing the defender strength. So I am going to have the defender strength set to very strong. Now, I will mention that there is a debate to be had about whether increasing the defender strength actually ends up hurting you, the player, more or less than the AI. In my experience, the AI does tend to struggle when you increase the difficulty level of the defenders, when you make them stronger. Because what the AI will do is they'll kind of just throw their units at these structures trying to clear them, maybe even when it's not necessarily the best idea. That being said, I think when you have them on very strong, it's going to make it so difficult for me to get started that I think it's all going to kind of come out in the wash, and hopefully it'll be enjoyable for you guys to watch. I will point out as well that I think I did a previous playthrough series, I believe it was my Draconian Necromancer series, where I had defender strength set to strong. Okay, so anyway, we're going to have very strong, and we're going to have some fun with that, I'm sure. Now, we're going to have Cosmic Happening set to medium, our hero number set to 4, max hero level set to 30, and all of these options enabled. Alright, I think that's pretty much everything, so let's go and pick our hero, or our leader, I should say. So as you may have guessed from the title of the video, I am going to be playing as an Orc Warlord, and in particular, I'm going to be playing as Crognash the Brutal. Crognash has Shadowborne Adept, Shadowborne Master, and Wild Magic Adept. Now I'll kind of go through a bit of my rationale for the choices that I'm making here. in terms of playing as an Orc, it's a race that I haven't played as yet on the channel, and I was looking for a race that would pair well with Warlord, and I think Orcs do, and I'll kind of explain some of my rationale for why. So if we look at them here, we can see that they have extra health, so +5 to their hit points, +1 melee strength, physical damage there, and -1 range strength, again physical damage, but they do have night vision and victory rush. Now, the other thing, of course, that -1 resistance is going to make them particularly susceptible to magic damage. However, I think the benefits of being an Orc are going to synergize very well with Warlord, because Orcs are pretty tanky, they do that extra melee damage, and a lot of them also have War Cry, which can increase their damage for a single turn, and that's like their melee damage, which is very, very useful. And then Victory Rush is going to give me the ability to kind of heal every time I win battles. So I think Orcs will pair well. My only worry is that because Warlords tend to focus more on the physical damage and melee damage, I suspect I may be a little bit more susceptible. I shouldn't say just physical damage, because they do have pretty good archers, like with mounted archers, but I will be susceptible to magic damage and to spellcasters. That's kind of one of the problems with playing as an Orc and potentially with a Warlord, is you can kind of get outcast when it comes to spells. So we'll just have to keep that in mind. Now, in terms of my specializations here, Shadowborne Adept means that my pikemen and infantry are going to be cheaper to produce. Shadowborne Master means that my cavalry and my archers will be cheaper to produce. So both of these are going to benefit my Warlord kind of esque way I'm going to have to play, which is probably producing a lot of powerful units. And I do get some benefit as a Warlord. Some of the upgrades will make my units cheaper to produce, so that'll synergize well. In particular, though, with Shadowborne Adept, I'm going to be trying to get lifesteal using, I think it's Entwined by Shadows, if I'm not mistaken. And the spell basically you can cast it on a city, and then all units produced are dedicated to evil and have lifesteal, which, if my units are going to be mostly kind of melee, big tough guys, that's going to be really good to have. It's going to be very beneficial. And then at the Shadowborne Master level, I'm going to be able to further improve my dedicated to evil units with some upgrades there, and also I'm going to be able to access Mab's Boon, which will allow my cities that I've recently migrated to have I think it's 5 turns of dramatic kind of boost to their production and their gold income. And as a Warlord, you get upgrades to the migration speed of cities, so I think that will all synergize very well. And then I'm also using Wild Magic Adept. I've never actually used Wild Magic before, either as an Adept or as a Master level, but there were a few spells that kind of intrigued me. There was one I saw that involved you can basically switch out the position of 2 units in battle, so that might be a really nice way for me to send a unit in behind enemy lines. I could send one of my big tough guys in behind and do some damage, or something like that, so that's kind of cool. And then in addition, I'll have the ability to summon lesser elementals, and I think it's random which one you get. However, this is really beneficial because I'm obviously going to be more production focused, so being able to summon a elemental unit, and in particular an elemental unit who has the potential to evolve if I can level him up enough, I really like that idea. So I think Wild Magic Adept will be kind of a fun choice. And I should also point out that Ahmed Sultan, on the last episode of my Shadow Elf Sorcerer playthrough, he had actually suggested, because I had asked in that last episode for some recommendations for race, class, and specialization combos, he had actually suggested playing a rogue, goblin rogue that had this exact specialization setup, and I almost decided to do it, but I've been just dying to get to play a Warlord. I've been kind of missing it after playing mostly sort of casting-based classes, and I've been just really wanting to play an Orc Warlord. So what I decided to do, I kind of thought about it, and I realized that these specializations would actually probably suit an Orc Warlord fairly well. So I'm going to give it a shot, and we'll see how it goes. And I think that's all I kind of want to say there. This will be a bit of a trial run, I suppose. But in any case, we're going to be playing Crognash the Brutal, the Orc Warlord. Alright, so let's pick some opponents. Now, the first thing I want to do is I do want to have a Shadow Elf opponent. And again, Shadow Elves are a race that was added by the Shadow Realm expansion mod pack that I have installed. You can think of them kind of as like really shock-focused High Elves, if they spec'd even more into it. And they're also obviously very at home in the Shadow Realm. Now, I had heard from one of the individuals who had actually been responsible for creating the Shadow Realm expansion mod, and he had mentioned that the Dreadnought units, and I believe also the Theocrats that are Shadow Elves, actually have some of the unit upgrades, or some of their class units, I should say, upgraded by shock damage instead of fire or frost or whatever they would normally have. For example, Dreadnoughts get a flame tank. Now, when the Frostling race came out, Frostling Dreadnoughts, their flame tanks shoot frost rather than fire. Well, my understanding is that for the Shadow Elves, the flame tanks will actually shoot lightning instead. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to go with Credora Eulora here, who is a Dreadnought Shadow Elf, and we're going to hopefully get to see some of those in action, potentially. So there we go. Okay, so now we need a few other classes here. I think I'm definitely going to want at least one Sorcerer to kind of mix this up a bit and have a magic opponent that or I should say more of a caster opponent who's going to present some real difficulty for me. And I think I'm going to go with a Tigran Sorcerer here. I'm going to go with Anarak here. I'm not going to try and pronounce that first name, but Anarak here, who has Adept of Fire, Master of Fire, and Explorer. So we'll go with a Tigran Sorcerer. And then I think we will go with maybe a Theocrat as well to go with that. And for a Theocrat, why don't we do a Frostling Theocrat? We could go with Firik of Clan Eldur here, who once again is Fire, Fire, and Shadowborne Adept. That'll be kind of a good one there. Change his color real quick. And then let's see who else we could go with. Perhaps an Archdruid would be a good choice. And maybe we'll go with kind of a more typical choice, a High Elf for the Archdruid. Kind of a jack of all trades here. Galendil of Vorlas, who has Adept of Earth, Adept of Fire, and Creation Adept. I think that'll be a good choice. Okay, so we've already got a Sorcerer, we've got a Dreadnought, we've got a Druid, and a Theocrat, so we need one more. I suppose I could double up on a class, or I could go with one of the classes I haven't chosen yet. Maybe a Rogue. A Rogue could be kind of fun, and we don't have anybody who's explicitly underground. So maybe we'll go with Schnaga the Pretty, who has Destruction Adept, Expander, and Explorer. So there we've got a bit of variety in our opponents. And we'll change her color as well. So that's going to do it. Now, while the game is loading, I do want to just briefly touch on my kind of what I want to do in terms of strategy for this upcoming playthrough. So obviously I'm going to have to be very, very cognizant of the extremely strong defenders. So I'm going to have to play my cards well in the early game. And I'm going to really try to focus on upgrading my units using Empire upgrades that I get for my Warlord class. Because I think that's kind of sort of the point of a Warlord, is to have very powerful units. So I'm really going to try to get those as quickly as I can and to try to kind of exploit that gap that I'm going to have with a lot of my opponents, where my units will be just beefy and tough and strong. And then I'll obviously try to augment them with any little extras from my specializations. So that's my plan. And I imagine this will probably be a game where I'm going to have to actually do a lot more producing of units than I have in the past. If you've watched any of my previous playthrough series, you'll know just how much I absolutely love acquiring units using conversion or Ghoul Curse or things like that, kind of getting them for free without having to produce them. I suspect in this playthrough I'm probably going to have to do more production, so I think it will be a legitimate challenge for me, and I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, Crognash the Brutal, Orc Warlord, your rise to power begins. Here we go. Alright, so let's see, what kind of hero did we get offering to join us? Urkan the Hacker, a level 1 Warlord, wants to join your forces. You know, on the one hand, a Warlord is there's nothing wrong with having a Warlord as a hero. However, I already have a Warlord, and I was kind of hoping for either maybe like a Druid or a Theocrat or something like that. Let me at least see his talents. Maybe he's got He starts off with melee command, which could actually come in handy. You know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to take Urkan. Maybe against my better judgment, but okay, let's see what we're starting with. Well, we did get at least one tier 2 unit here. We did get a cavalry unit, Orc Black Knight, but otherwise we've pretty much just got tier 1 units. Unfortunately, we don't have any ranged units and we don't have any support units. So this is going to be a pretty tough opening for us. You can see on the map here we're in the southernmost part of the map and we're right in the middle, which means we could potentially get attacked from all sides. So we're going to have to deal with that. Let's look at our objectives here. So of course we have to protect our leader and the throne city. We don't want our leader to die, and we don't want our throne city to be captured, as that's how we'll lose if both happen at the same time. Allied victory, but of course everybody's on their own team, and of course we need to defeat all the rival empires. Alright, why don't we take a look at what we've got for spells as we start off here. So we've got Seek Inspiration and Inspire Loyalty as global spells that we can use. So Inspire Loyalty. The caster and their empire's heroes gain Inspire Loyalty. All units in the army of a hero that has Inspire Loyalty gain Volunteer. Units with Volunteer require 50% less upkeep for gold. Well, that's pretty good. I mean, this is something worth eventually getting a hold of once I have a little bit more stable mana income, as that's going to improve my gold income by needing less to keep my troops going. And I'm starting off with Lion's Courage, which is a pretty powerful spell in terms of buffing my melee strength. So a unit that you cast this on will get +5 melee physical strength, Overwhelm, and Strong Will. So that's pretty solid. And then that's going to do it for what we're starting with. Now let's see what we could pick to research here at the beginning. So we've got a few options. We actually do have Embrace Darkness right off the bat, which is pretty cool. All units produced in target-friendly city and all units summoned within that city's borders gain life-stealing and become dedicated to evil. Researching this spell will make your leader and heroes dedicated to evil. I'm going to hold off on grabbing this one right away because I do want to try and get myself to the evil side of things rather than getting this and having a morale penalty for my heroes. So I'm going to hold off on this one, but I am glad that I have access to it. Last Stand would be a great spell to have as kind of a backup for me in these battles, especially since I'm going to be going up against some very, very tough early game opponents here that are guarding these different structures. So what this does, it bestows a +2 defense, first strike, and the polearm ability on target-friendly unit until the end of combat. Additionally, affected units will get 2 times the normal bonus to defense and resistance when guarding. So that's absolutely fantastic and a very, very nice upgrade, or a very nice spell to have if I'm trying to have one unit kind of tank damage for me. Of course, it's not going to improve the amount of resistance I have unless I'm guarding, but that is still pretty substantial. So I'm leaning towards picking this one so I have some early game ability to kind of tank. Now, Training Regimen increases the... or it gives me more of a discount on production of archer, cavalry, infantry, irregular, and pikemen. So that's pretty solid, something I'm going to want eventually. War Effort. Empire citizens support the war and work harder to ensure its victory. Basically just a flat +10 gold for every city, generating +10 gold. So that's pretty solid. But I think I'm going to start with Last Stand, and that's, again, purely because I want it in battle so that I can use it to help my units tank damage a little bit. Oh my gosh, you can see how just well defended these structures are. So we've got ourselves right here a mana node. We've got 2 Phantasm Warriors, which unfortunately do shock damage with their attacks, which means my units are going to be very susceptible. We've got a Halfling Apprentice who does a lot of elemental damage, which means my units are not going to be faring very well. And then 2 Wisps who additionally do shock damage. Oof, that's going to be a tough, tough battle. Very, very difficult. Let's see what Urkan has for spells. Okay, actually, Urkan has Last Stand. You know what? Maybe, rather than doing Last Stand, maybe since Urkan has that, maybe we'll do War Effort and just try and get our gold income going and start trucking down the Empire upgrade pathway here. You know, I think maybe that's going to have to be the play here. Yeah, we're going to do War Effort. I do want that extra gold income flowing in pretty fast here. So I'm glad I checked that, because that's really good to see. All right, so what else does Urkan have? I didn't actually look at the other two spells. So he has Berserk and Shout of Intimidation. This one attempts to panic an enemy unit. Berserk attempts to cause target enemy unit to go berserk, basically meaning that they might attack their own friends, I think. Yeah, so they'll just attack the nearest unit with melee. So that could be kind of useful if you throw it on an archer or something. Or in this case, like a support unit like the Apprentice. Boy, this is, I'm kind of dreading this upcoming battle here. You can tell I'm maybe procrastinating a little bit. But let's do it. We're gonna... Oh, I really don't want to, though. So, unfortunately, Crognash at the moment doesn't have anything to buff his squad. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to group everybody really up with our hero, with Urkan here, like this. And then I'm going to take Crognash and send him down like this. And I'll move that unit there. And that way, at the very least, the units in the command of Urkan here are getting melee command as a benefit. And that's only because these battles are just going to be so absolutely disgusting. Okay, let's do it. We're going to initiate the battle with Crognash here. Oof. I'm going to be able to win the battle, but the issue is I don't want to lose anybody early here. Okay. Oh boy. So this could get nasty. Let's think about how we kind of want to approach this. So, obviously we want to get Crognash maybe over here with the rest of his units. Same goes for our Spearmen. Now, I'm probably going to use Last Stand here in this battle on one of my units. The question is which unit. So I'm going to need to throw somebody in up front in defense mode, and I'm thinking it's going to be the Grunt. So we're going to throw Last Stand on the Grunt. There we go. So now he's just a little bit stronger, a little bit more able to deal with what's going to be coming his way. And these Black Knights are going to have to come in and do some charging. And I want to spread my units out because obviously these Wisps are going to be able to just jump in behind me here. Oh boy, I am just dreading this battle. When you're playing against the strong defenders, you really got to be careful. Okay, so my hero took some damage. He's getting beat up pretty good. Those stuns are going to be a real problem for me as well. Alright, what kind of damage can we do here? If we come in with our Impaler, let's throw a War Cry on just to improve our odds of getting a kill. Okay, and we got it. Very good. And then we've got this Wisp back here. Now, what kind of damage do we do in melee if we decide to melee? We could do a flank attack to turn them around. Might not be the worst plan. Then we can actually kind of move ourselves off just a bit here. We can try and get the kill with our hero. Let's try it. Nice, we got it. Very, very good. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so now we have to deal with these pesky guys. So the good news is we could probably just charge in and obliterate these Apprentice, assuming, of course, they don't get lucky or anything like that. So we'll move in and we'll actually do some damage here. Oh, and of course, lucky, those darn halflings with their lucky. Let's see, what kind of damage do we do with our... Oh, heck yeah, our grunts are going to just annihilate these Apprentice, hopefully. So we'll move ourselves in and just... Well, we didn't get the kill, but we did a lot of damage. And then let's see if we can actually get the finish here with our Black Knight. Ooh, actually, our Black Knight's going to take quite a bit of damage there if we do that. Can we get over and maybe throw a spear? Yeah, it's probably not going to get... Oh, and we got lucky and we got the kill. Very, very nice. Okay. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to park my Black Knight there in defense. So now we just have to worry about these two Phantasm Warriors. Oof! Oof! Gosh, you see how hard that hits, eh, when you've got that weakness. Oh my gosh, that was gross. Absolutely gross. And of course, none of my units do... Like, we'll just take a peek here at these Phantasm Warriors. So they actually have 60% physical protection, 40% shot protection. None of my units really do any elemental damage, which is a big problem for me, as you can clearly see. All right, so let's jump in like this. We'll flank them. And then we can actually... You know what? Let's get a charge going here. And turn them around. Very good. Okay, and now we can actually retreat our grunt out of there if necessary. Which I would like to do. I don't want my grunt going down. The only problem is, no matter what I do, it's almost like no matter what I do, I'm losing somebody. Because these Phantasm Warriors hit me just so dang hard. Okay, well... Here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw on Warcry, we're going to charge in, do some big damage there. We're going to move our Spearmen over like this, do a flank hit there. Oh, dang. That's just not good. What I was hoping is that I could maybe get the kill with my Grunt here, but I think I'm just going to have to cheese out of there and just run away. And, you know, I might have to use my heroes up close more than I'm currently comfortable doing. I usually don't like to do that with my heroes, but I may kind of have to at this point. What other abilities do I have? Last Stand, and what does Crognash have? Lion's Courage, I suppose that would be beneficial. I could have maybe thrown that on somebody, but... maybe I should have used that on my Black Knights there. Okay, this Phantasm Warrior needs to die. It's got 12 hit points, and it's going to potentially get some of its health back with recharging mana currents if I don't finish it off, so... Oh boy. I mean, if I lose the Grunt, it's not the end of the world. I just would really prefer to lose him. Now, if I keep him here, this Phantasm Warrior is going to... Like, if I, let's say, use the Grunt to attack the back of this Phantasm Warrior... This Phantasm Warrior is just going to turn around and obliterate my Grunt. Unless, I guess, if I use up all the attacks, maybe, or something. So let's see. What kind of damage do we do with our crossbow to this? Really not much at all, hey? Big yikes. Yeah, I'd like to keep the Grunt alive, because he's actually leveled up a bit, so... We're going to run out of there. Okay, so now we just got to figure out how the heck do we kill off this Phantasm Warrior as painlessly as possible. Urkan's in kind of rough shape, so I don't really want to send him in necessarily to his death here. Okay, we'll send him in like this, do some damage there. And then we should get the kill here with our Impalers. Now, our Impalers are almost certainly going to probably die, or at least be very badly beaten. And then we'll just do some damage here. Oh, yeah, it didn't really matter because their recharging mana currents was going to come in. Oh, and our Impaler actually survived. Wow. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, so... If you're wondering why I'm taking so long on this first battle, it's because since we're playing on the very strong defenders, we have to be extremely, extremely tactical and extremely careful with our battles here. Because every little bit is going to matter. Okay, so let's do a charge here. We're going to build up a charge, come in like this, and flank there. And then we're going to flank around back here. And then we're going to move in with our heroes and hopefully be able to just crossbow this Phantasm Warrior to death here. Yes. Okay, very, very nice. Oof. I know that battle took a long time, but we were able to successfully do it. We got a few level ups, and nobody died, which is the most important part. Holy cow. That was probably the most white-knuckled I've ever been on on an opening battle. Now, unfortunately, we did take a bit of damage in with our health here. Now, as orcs, we're going to get our health back through our battles as we get Victory Rush, but it is important to remember that we are still going to be losing health, and we got to make sure we manage it properly. So now the question is, who do I want to be my scout? Maybe one of my most wounded units, so maybe my Impaler can go be a scout and grab the gold down there. And then I think what I'll do is I'll actually send this guy over here to just see. Okay, and we do have some haste berries. We got a few things over there, so that's looking like a good place to go with our units here up north. So let's go grab the Cartographer's tent here. We'll grab that with our hero. Okay, and there's an orc city near us, so we want to at least go try and kind of make friends with them. I'm gonna try my best to make alliances and whatnot with my orc cities, and then with other races, I'm probably gonna just try and migrate them, depending on which race it is, of course. I'm probably gonna make friends with a few other races and then migrate some of the other ones. And I'm gonna do that to try and get the evil points that I'm gonna need here, basically. Okay, so yeah, we can go and clear this one out again. Same story. Boy, that's gonna be tough though. Man, oh man, I can't get over just how strong those structures are at the beginning here. Okay, so we've got Hrim, the Throne of Crognash here. It's currently an outpost. We don't have a ton of production income at the moment. It would be nice to get this Builder's Hall going. It's a shame it's going to take 5 turns, but it would be really, really nice to get this going. I just want that extra production so things don't take quite so long. So that's what we're going to do on our first turn here. We don't have enough mana to start casting Inspire Loyalty, so I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. So we're going to end our turn there. So that was a pretty long first turn, but again, I have to be extremely careful in the first couple of turns here in this game. Just because these defenders are so darn powerful, I really have to try and play my cards well and manage my units to the best of my ability here in the early game. So we're going to send our heroes probably up through clearing out as much of this as possible, try and get to this city and make friends with them and maybe get a quest from them, hopefully, or something like that. And eventually I'd like to vassal them. And then in the meantime, I'm going to also look for some cities to invade and conquer and migrate over to other races. Or to orcs, I guess, from other races, I should say. Okay, this little guy's going to go do just a touch more exploring. Okay, and it looks like there's some gold there. So this mana node is defended entirely by wisps, which is actually kind of... That's kind of scary because those wisps do a lot of damage and can stun you, which is pretty dangerous. So we'll grab that gold. There's usually a refugee camp around here. I see some mana sitting right where my cursor is right here. So we'll head up and grab that as well. Okay. Oh boy. Now the question. Do we want to try this battle with one fewer unit? We've also got some orcs here. We could have some orc on orc combat. Only issue here is this orc priest is going to be able to do elemental damage, which could pose a bit of a problem for us. So our units are in decent shape, with the exception of the grunt being a little worse for wear. We're going to send our spearmen up, obviously, to assist us. Fortunately, we didn't get any level ups for our heroes, as they kind of had to sit back a bit. Oh boy, this is a tough call here. You know what? I think we're going to try it. And if we have to sacrifice maybe one unit, we'll do it. This is a pretty decent city in terms of size. Holy cow. Oh man, this is scary stuff, but we're gonna try it here. Okay. And you know what? Maybe we'll actually move Crognash off the stack again, because that way the stack will be led by Urkan, who has the melee buff. So we'll do that, and then we will initiate the battle using our Black Knight here. Oh man, I'm going to be white-knuckling the mouse and keyboard again on this one. Okay, they are attacking us. They're moving up. That's a good thing. All right, so now we gotta do this as strategically as possible here. So I'm gonna get Crognash over here. Got to remember that these rocks are kind of in the way. So we'll move him there. He can actually already do some damage to the wisp. Fortunately, there's going to be no recovering of health for these units here this time, so You know what? We might even be able to, if we use our spearmen here. I'm actually going to use my sprint. We can do enough damage that we could almost have this wisp finished off here in a way. Not quite, but close to it. Now with Urkan, it might be nice to throw a last stand on one of our units again. Maybe this time on a Black Knight. The only thing is it's a little bit wasted on the Black Knight because the Black Knight already has a polearm, and as such is really good against other cavalry. However, I don't think that actually gives first strike, so that would be okay. So maybe we'll do that. We'll... Hang on, how much damage do we do here? Yeah, we're probably not going to get the kill. I mean, if we move up one more. I mean, we have a shot to get the kill. I don't know if that's really worth it, honestly. What the heck. Oh, and we kind of got lucky. Very, very nice. Okay. And then now we just have to make sure that our units are spaced reasonably well here. I think what I'll maybe do is I'll move my Black Knight over there. The Grunt can kind of stay maybe where he is. Actually, maybe he can move back over here like this. This Black Knight needs to move off just a touch like that. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. So obviously this Wisp is going to jump in. Yeah, there he goes. And then, okay, nothing too crazy over there. The apprentices doing their work. Okay, so far so good. This is actually going reasonably well. Okay. So we can do a flank hit, turn him around. Very nice. And then you know what? Let's use our Grunt. We're going to War Cry. We're going to come in. And we got the kill. Now, we did get stunned, but we at least got the kill, which is what we were after there. And then we're going to probably now need to figure out how the heck to deal with these Phantasm Warriors who are going to be a real pain for us. I think what we'll do is we'll charge our Black Knight over to deal with these apprentice units here. And, oh, unfortunately, we're going to be in range for the Phantasm Warrior to come in and deal a hit, too. Ay, 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 that's not good. Okay, I got to think about this again. So Urkan hasn't gone yet. Now let's see if we were to try and intimidate. You know, we've got a 45%. You know what? This could work really well for us actually, because even if it fails and the unit ends up having the -14 movement, that would mean that it can't move and get my Black Knight. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna send Urkan back here. We're going to turn him around. We're going to use Shout of Intimidation on the Phantasm Warrior. And it worked. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, now we can relax just a little bit. That's actually really good for us. So we're going to move over here. Attack the apprentice. And we're actually going to jump over here as well and flank the apprentice. Just so that if the apprentice tries to step off, it's definitely going to die from the Black Knight now. Okay, so now we just have to deal with this Phantasm Warrior, and let's see where he can move. So maybe what we'll do is we'll put the Black Knight here in defense mode, and we'll put the Spearman over here, and we'll just do a little bit of kind of nothing damage there. Ooh, you know what? I didn't realize this unit can come in and flank my Spearman. That was a bit of a mistake on my part. It's probably going to do that. Yep, there it comes, and I wasn't even ready for that. Okay, very good. So that at least takes care of that. So now we can all kind of gang up on the Phantasm Warrior here. So what we can do, we can step back, throw on a War Cry, do some charge damage. There we go. Very nice. We can step off with this unit, and we can, again, build up another charge here. Throw on a War Cry. Big flank. There we go. Very nice. And then we can move in with Crognash here. Fortunately, we're a little bit outside of range, but we can hit there. We can hit like this. And then we can... Oh, I don't know if we're going to be able to get the kill, unfortunately. I was really hoping we'd be able to kill this unit off. Well, okay, so what kind of damage can we do? We do between 8 and 12 damage. What if we shoot our 6 and 9? Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to charge in like this. Do 10. Okay, it's got 6. And then, oh, geez, it's not a guaranteed kill. Fortunately, okay, we still have the Spearman, though. I forgot about the Spearman. Okay. We should be okay. So now all we have to do is just do this. And then this, and we should be fine. Okay, fantastic. Whew. And then this unit's going to eventually get out of its panicked state and be able to come after us here. So we're still in excellent shape. I don't think we've lost anybody yet. All right, so now he's got a turn or two to get back to us, so we can kind of regroup a little bit. So let's get our cavalry kind of prepared here and our spearmen. Just kind of set them up for success here. Okay. We're going to let somebody tank a bit of the damage, probably our healthiest Black Knight here. Let's see, where can he step to? Okay, we're going to let him take one more step in. Okay, so he wisely put himself in defense mode here. So we're going to just bombard him with everything we've got, I think. Alternatively, we could move such that... Let's see, where's his movement range? These rocks are actually going to kind of help us. Maybe we'll do that instead, actually. We're gonna retreat back just ever so slightly here. What I want is to leave it so that he's only able to hit one unit. So let's see. Yeah, we got to back up just a touch more. Okay. So if I put my Black Knight like this, turn him around, defense mode. So now, I'm assuming next turn he's going to come and attack my Black Knight, potentially. He may also just put himself back in defense mode yet again, but we'll see. Nope, there he goes. Okay, that's exactly what we needed. And now the flanking battle has begun again. So now what we'll do is we will move out like this to flank. We will blast him there. And then we can do a nice flank over here. Get a charge going. Throw on a war cry. Big flank, there it is. And now we'll step over here. Nice big flank right there. And then with these ones, we do want to do a flank as well. So maybe what we'll do here is we'll move our spearmen around behind like this. Do that kind of flank. And then we can also hit with the crossbow here. Very nice. And then we should be able to just get the finish with our Black Knight here. Very, very nice. Okay. So some extremely, extremely cautious battling there at the beginning, but I think this is going to pay dividends tremendously going forward. And you can see there we got all that extra knowledge income, and now this will be finished next turn, so that's fantastic. And, most importantly, nobody died. That's exactly what we wanted. Whew, okay, well, here's another battle. Do we want to try it? So let's see what we're up against. We've got an Orc Black Knight, an Orc Priest, an Orc Greatsword, an Orc Grunt, and a Spearman. Our units are starting to be in pretty decent shape. I mean, we've now got a few that are at least leveling up a touch. At veteran rank, these Black Knights will gain armor piercing, which will be fantastic against armored units like other Black Knights. Yeah, unfortunately our heroes haven't leveled up yet. Crognash is very close to it, but not quite yet. Oh boy, this is a tough call. Well, let me procrastinate it a little bit by just making sure I've done everything else. Wait, I don't think we're going to cast anything. No, we're not. I suppose if I ended up losing like one little unit, it's not the end of the world. I'm just really trying my best to avoid that outcome. Now, the only other thing to remember here is that Urkan has cast his spells, so he doesn't have any more spells to cast, whereas Crognash here hasn't, but all he has is Lion's Courage, which is still a very good spell, but remembering that we don't have that option. The thing that worries me the most about this battle is the priest with his elemental damage. Everything else I think I can probably handle, but it's the priest that I'm the most concerned about. So if we were going to do the battle here, move ourselves in like this, and then here comes Crognash over like this. Ooh boy. All right, you know what? What the hell? Let's try it. We're gonna kind of go with the go big or go home approach here. Hopefully we don't end up going home. Ay, 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 let's do it. So they're probably going to go for my... Okay, so they're not going to attack us right off the hop. That's kind of nice. Okay, we're going to move over like this. We're going to throw Lion's Courage on... Probably on our Black Knight here. I think. Yeah, he's in the best shape of anybody at the moment. So we're going to throw it on the Black Knight, who's going to have to kind of be our vanguard force here a touch. Our Spearman is in actually reasonable shape. And he does get the bonus of a shield, which is kind of nice. Our Grunts are doing alright, but they are a little worse for wear, so... Alright, and our other hero can kind of just chill back here. Oh boy. I'm just waiting for these Orc Priests to just unleash pain on me here soon. I'm imagining it's not going to be pleasant. Fortunately, they don't have a pikeman unit, so I don't have to worry as much with my cavalry. Alright, let's just kind of gingerly, very, very gingerly move ourselves up. Just want them to kind of engage me. Oh, you know what? I probably should have used this terrain a little bit more to my advantage. You know what? We're gonna do this. We're gonna put our Black Knight right there, move in like this, and do some damage. Just try and get them, kind of entice them to come after me here a bit. Put our Spearman up like that. Okay. Oof. Do your worst now. Come on. Okay, they're throwing curses at me. Okay, we took some damage there, but we dealt out quite a bit of damage, as you saw. If we throw on a War Cry, we could probably finish off these Grunts here with a flank attack, potentially. It's going to be a tough thing to do, but I think we can manage it. Let's just do some math here on this. So, if we're doing a minimum of 12, that means that if we get low rolls on both attacks, we would be doing a maximum of 24 damage. Now, we're not going to take a ton of retaliatory damage because we do have a shield, which is going to kind of give us a bit of cover. So that's nice. Suppose we could also use our Spearman here and throw a spear if we need to. What kind of damage do we do? Yeah, and unfortunately these little Orc Spearmen, they don't count as having an actual spear. Like, they don't get a pole arm, which is a bit of a shame. Alright, let's try it. 22. If we get good rolls, we'll get the kill. Ooh, and we unfortunately didn't. That's a bit of a shame. Alright, so in that case, we will move our Spearman in and get the finish. There we go. So the good news is we can use our Black Knights to fight their Black Knights. And we've still got our Spearman here able to kind of assist, as well as our hero able to back them up. So, I think what we'll do is we will throw on Warcry and we will go to town. Okay, we took a lot of damage there, but we were able to do quite a bit of damage as well. Big damage there. And what kind of melee damage do we do? We can actually probably get the finish here. Very, very nice. Okay, fantastic. And now we've just got what's going on over here to deal with. Unfortunately, this unit can actually come and attack my Black Knight, which isn't ideal. So what we might actually want to do here is move my Black Knight up, put him in defense mode. Hopefully that's not going to bite me in the ass. Now if we step up here, we could do quite a bit of damage to these greatswords, actually. Maybe we even put Crognash up here to tank some of the damage as well. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call. I suppose right now, if I let's say if I use melee, if we actually were to just attack the greatswords here, yeah, that's probably not the best idea. All right, let's just attack the... Ooh, and we got a critical. That's actually going to be helpful. You know, with a Warcry, we could do this and not take a ton of retaliatory damage. So minimum of 14, which means in 2 hits we would get the kill. So we're going to throw this on. There we go. Okay, okay, very nice. Now we're going to take some damage and we're going to get beat up by these priests, that's for sure. Okay. As long as it didn't hit my Black Knight, we're okay. So now we just got the Spearmen to kind of think about here. So we can get our cavalry in to do a nice charge attack, which will do quite a lot of damage. Both of our Spearmen should be able to sprint their way in there and do some big damage. So I think what we will do is we will charge in with our Black Knight. Even though he's going to take some damage, that's okay. And then we're going to sprint over here, get a nice flanking hit, and then get the kill. Very nice. Okay. And then with our hero, we're going to sprint around behind, flank them to turn them around, charge like this in, and then just get the obliterating kill with our hero in behind, or with our leader, I should say. And once again, we didn't lose anybody, and we won what was a fairly scary battle for me there, just because I didn't want anybody to die. And we fortunately got a level up with Crognash, which is fantastic. Now we could grab Field Medic. All units in the hero's army regenerate an additional 6 health each turn. This is actually pretty useful, especially right now, given that we're kind of hurting. Our units are pretty beat up at the moment. Defense Command would also be very nice, just to increase our protection a little bit. I think I'm going to grab Field Medic at this point, just so that my units regenerate a bit more health, and I'm not having to, like, wait around babysitting them. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do Field Medic here. Normally I wouldn't take this, but just based on the situation, I'm gonna grab it. So we're gonna take Field Medic. Again, I was tempted to take Defense Command, but I think that's gonna be more useful at this point. Now, we actually can grab this and maybe get all the way up in there a bit further if we wanted. So let's send off maybe one of these units as a... Oh, geez, everybody's so leveled up. I don't really want to split up the party here, but who's got more XP? This guy does. So a little bit beat up, but that's okay. We'll actually send him off just out of the stack here. We'll group our heroes. We'll grab the extra movement, and we're going to charge up in here. We're going to... And we got some Draconians to fight. Now that's a scary battle because Draconians do a lot of fire damage, and our units are not doing very well against any form of elemental damage. We're going to negotiate. Let me know when you're ready to talk. And we're actually potentially even going to say, let us open our borders and sign a peace treaty. Normally they'll offer it to you, but if we do this, then we might get a faster return on our chances of getting like a vassal out of this city. So we're going to do that. We're going to open the borders and sign the peace treaty. It did cost us a lot of money, but we're going to have better gold income once we have war effort anyway, so I'm less concerned about that. We'll step here. We're not going to do this battle right now. We're going to wait, and we may not even do it eventually. We'll have to see. Okay, and this little guy... Now I'm debating, do I want to scout with him, or do I want him to actually go and help out in the battle? I think I'm going to maybe have him go help out in the battle. Alright, so that's going to do it for our turn. So I know I'm taking a lot of time on these battles and these turns, but I'm doing it very deliberately because I do not want to make any mistakes in this early game phase. And I've already, maybe with movement and stuff, I haven't been the most efficient, but I have to be extremely, extremely careful that I don't botch any of this. Because the stakes are so high with all these very, very powerful units defending. All it would take is, you know, 1 or 2 wrong moves and I lose most of my army. And then I spend so much time rebuilding my forces that now I'm at a severe disadvantage against my AI opponents. So we're going to grab that mana stack. Very nice. Okay, and we've got production resources here, which is good. So we might want to swing around back and maybe work our way back this way to... Let's do a bit of scouting here and see what we can find. Okay, and we've also got ourselves a fire node. So maybe we can do a loop around here and work our way back. We'll go scout a bit further this way. Remembering that on turn 5, units start popping up, so we're going to want a unit back in our throne. So war effort is now researched. Let's see what else we can do. So that's great. Now we've got that extra gold income from that. Very, very nice. Mab's Boon obviously going to be useful for us later, but at this point in the game we don't need it, and it's very expensive for us to research. So maybe I'll go with Training Regimen, such that then if we need to produce any extra units, they're a little bit cheaper for us. Warrior Culture is great. Expensive at the moment, though. So let's do Training Regimen. And then, you know what? We can do Inspire Loyalty as well. We can start casting that. And if we need to cast spells in battle, then we can do it. But otherwise, we can focus on trying to get this going so we can improve our gold income even further. Oh boy. Okay, so of these, who does the most fire damage? So the Raptor does fire damage, obviously. The Crushers don't. They just do physical. The Flamer and then the Hatchlings do a boatload of fire damage, which is very scary. Yeah, I think we're going to skip that battle for now. Might be able to come back and handle it later, but... Okay, we've got a Nightmare, a Lesser Blight Elemental, some Lost Souls, and Blight Tusk Boar. Boy, oh boy, that's not something I really want to fight either. Jeez, I'm going to have to be very selective in my battles. Now, some additional orcs that could use a killing. That's a little more my style at this point, I would say. Boy, and again, that's another battle that I'm still not super excited about doing at the moment. Maybe we'll wait a turn and just kind of see what else we come across. And again, we want to loop back around and take out these humans. So, this guy's going to just hang out. So that'll do it for our turn there. We don't want to do a whole bunch of turns without any battles, because through the battling is how we're going to get our units to be quite a lot stronger, obviously. And we're going to need that. If we're going to have any hope of clearing out these structures, we're going to need our units to be very leveled up. Alright, so I should probably have someone head back to the city. I'm going to use the Impaler because he's in a little bit worse shape, so he'll go back. He can guard the city. Now, in this case here, this army... Oh, boy. Just a bunch of orcs that need killing, huh? Yikes. Now, fortunately, we are leveling up. We're getting stronger. Let's see what the Grunt has gotten as it leveled up. So nothing crazy, just some extra defense, hit points. No other abilities, but it is getting stronger. Our Black Knight, again, just got some health and melee strength, so nothing crazy there either. Now, the big question is, do I want to try this Orc battle here? Fortunately, there's no priest to have to deal with, so that is a good thing. I think what we'll do is we'll step Crognash off the stack so that, again, we get the melee buff. And then, you know what? Let's do it. We're going to try it. This might be a horrible decision, but we're going to give it a shot. Okay, so it's Orc versus Orc in this one. We're going to make it take advantage of some of our spells, that's for sure. We have enough mana to be able to do a bit of casting, so... Alright, so our Black Knight is going to be our Vanguard force, but we do have to watch out, because they do have an Impaler, so we're going to have to be a little bit careful of that. So we can send our Black Knight in like this, and then we're going to use Last Stand, for sure, on our Black Knight. There we go. And then Crognash could also throw an Overwhelm on maybe one of our other units, maybe on our Grunt as well. We'll move the Grunt up to assist as well, because the Grunt's got pretty good defense now. Fortunately, again, because these units don't have really any... they don't have any elemental damage, so we don't have to worry that much about that, thank goodness. Otherwise, that would be horrendous. Okay, so we'll move up just a touch. Crognash is just going to chill. So they're going to come at us here. Yep, there it is. So we barely took any damage at all, which is exactly what we wanted. So we're going to try and use maybe one of our ranged units' attacks here to kill off this greatsword. So let's see what kind of damage do we do. Oof, not quite enough to get the kill, huh? What about here? Not really much better, hey? Again, basically if we roll 18, 17, 16, or 15, we get the kill, but we could roll 12, 13, or 14 and not get the kill. Versus over here, in most instances, we don't get the kill. However, if we were to come in and do a melee and throw on our Warcry, we could get the finish relatively easily, I think. So maybe we do that. Oh, actually, it's the same odds as Crognash's attack. Dang. Okay. Let's try it. Oh, and it didn't work out. That's a shame. Alright, well, we will move in and just do the melee attack here, I think. There we go. So now this unit's going to have to make its way all the way in here. And our Black Knight we can actually advance up with, along with our Grunt as kind of support here. I think that's going to be very nice. And Urkan can also throw Last Stand on the Grunts as well. So now we've got a real defensive bulwark here against what's coming at us, which is exactly what we need. Very, very powerful. So now they can crash against our... Perfect, very good. So our Black Knights took a lot of damage, but they dished out a lot of punishment too. You can see there, their Black Knights are about to die. So we can use our... And we do have to watch out as we've got the Greatsword and Grunts circling around from behind us there. We just got to make sure we watch out for that. I'm going to jump over here with my hero, turn these Grunts around so they're not doing that anymore. And then I think with Urkan, I'm actually going to jump in like this, get the finish on the Black Knight, and then... So the Black Knights have already basically exhausted their movement. However, we can do some big damage with our Spearmen there, and then throw on a Warcry and finish them off like that. And then we can throw our Black Knight here in defense mode to protect the flank of our Spearmen. And that should be sufficient. So let's see what happens. Ooh, and they came in after our Spearmen, but they did take some attacks of opportunity, so now this is where Sprint comes in handy. We can get our butts out of there, which is great. So I have to decide where to put them eventually, but for now we'll just not going to worry too much. We also have to remember there's that Impaler over here just kind of lurking. So maybe we'll go like this. That is out of the range of all these units to move, so that's good. We'll turn the Grunt, and now they're not really an issue for us as much. We can get the finish. Very nice. Now our Black Knight can go and probably deal with those units more or less by himself, but we'll get a little bit of help for him there. And we'll actually throw on a Warcry, get a charge. You know what? We can actually get the finish over here as well. Perfect. And now our grunt can essentially go and deal with the impalers. Okay, that worked out all right. Now we have some opportunities for flanking here, I believe. Maybe not quite. We'll move down this way. I don't know if that's... Yeah, that's going to count as a flank. Ooh, and a critical flank. Very, very nice. Now, let's see. We do have our Black Knights here. Both of them are at veteran level, which is going to be very helpful for us. Urkan could use some more XP. He's already leveled up once, but he needs more. This Spearman is at silver medal, which is pretty nice. And our Grunts are bronze medal now. They're about to level up as well. I think what we're going to do, though, is we're going to grab the experience with Urkan. I don't think these Grunts gain anything special at silver. They don't. So we'll just get some extra hero XP there. Very, very nice. Once again, I had to be extremely cautious in that battle, but it paid off. We got some nice level ups for our units, and we didn't take an excessively high amount of damage. Okay, so Urkan has some level ups here. You know, I want him to eventually lead a stack, but for now, he's not going to be leading a stack. So I think I'm actually just going to give him additional casting points. Rather than give him buffs that help a stack of his, I'm going to give him extra casting points so that he can cast more spells. Because, quite frankly, he's not going to be leading a stack of his own for a little while yet. So he's more useful as a bit of a caster, I think, to kind of aid me. However, I think this episode has gone on long enough, so I'm going to call it here. But we only made it through 4 turns, but they were 4 very intense turns with some really tricky battles. So I'm just going to zoom out and get a look at kind of where we are on the map there. So all in all, I'm quite happy with the progress of this one so far. I had to be extremely careful in some of those battles. And maybe I was being a little overcautious, but I really just did not want to lose any of my units at the start here. So we're going to call this one our Orc Warlord, and it's going to be FFA for free-for-all, 6 players, and this is going to be episode 1. So Orc Warlord, free-for-all, 6-player, episode 1. And we're going to save it right there. Alright, well, that takes care of episode 1. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.